Okay, so good evening, everybody, and welcome to the RC Psych Star Scheme Information Evening. It's great to see so many people attending, and I know there's lots of people who are still being let into the room. So I'm just conscious of that not everyone's managed to join us just yet. But welcome to this evening's webinar. So my name's Declan Hyland, and I'm the RC Psych's Associate Dean for Choose Psychiatry and Recruitment, and I'm also the lead clinician behind the Psych Star Scheme. So I'll be chairing this evening's webinar. We've got a fantastic agenda for you today. So I'm going to provide a bit of an overview about the Psych Star Scheme, what it involves and how to apply, etc. And then we're very fortunate to be joined by a couple of our current Psych Stars, Henry and Morgan, who are going to spend a bit of time talking about their own experiences of being a Psych Star. And we may well have one of our previous Psych Stars, Lauren, as well, also attending. So that will give you a little bit of a sort of a personal experience overview of the scheme. Just a few housekeeping rules and things to mention at the start. So this webinar is being recorded. So if you do have to duck in and out, or you're not able to attend the whole of the webinar, it will be recorded and available subsequently to access. We do have a slot this evening for questions and answers. So we've got a Q&A slot right at the end. Hopefully we'll have about 15 to 20 minutes. We will try and get through as many of the questions as we can. Please do use the Q&A function in Zoom to ask any questions. If you put your questions in the chat inbox, we may miss them. So use the Q&A function if you've got questions that you want to ask. Okay, so I have got a short presentation to kick proceedings off, just to provide a bit of an overview of the scheme. So I'm just going to share my screen and hopefully my presentation will come up. Okay, so hopefully you'll be able to see that okay now. Yep, so that's me. So Declan Hyland, so the Associate Dean for Choose Psychiatry. Okay, so the Psych Star Scheme, what is it? So the Psych Star Scheme has been in existence now for 6 years. So we set the scheme up in 2019, and it succeeded what was previously the college's Pathfinder Fellowship Scheme, which essentially sought to encourage medical students with an interest in academic psychiatry specifically to provide them with a scheme in which they were provided with a mentor and CPD funds, etc. And it was a 3-year scheme that was run for a number of years, and the Psych Star Scheme was set up in its place. So it's been around now for 6 years, so we're going into our 6th cohort. It's a 1-year scheme, so it runs from the 1st of September to the 31st of August. Okay, now that's not to say that beyond the 12 months of the scheme you can't continue your mentoring relationship with your allocated mentor, but the scheme itself is actually only 1 year in duration. In terms of requirements of the scheme, it's important that all applicants are enrolled on a full-time UK medicine degree at the start of the scheme. So in other words, the 1st of September 2025. So you can be at any UK medical school, including the newer UK medical schools, and we'd absolutely welcome applications from our newer UK medical schools. And you must also be a student associate of the college. And for those of you that don't know about the student associate membership, there's information available on the college website. It's free to join. It won't cost you anything. And there are lots of benefits of being a student associates member as well. So if you're not one of them already, you will need to be if you want to apply to the Psych Star Scheme. If you've been unsuccessful in applying for the Psych Star Scheme previously, that doesn't mean you cannot apply again. So we would absolutely encourage applicants to apply again for the Psych Star Scheme, because it's an incredibly competitive process. It's very difficult to be awarded one of the Psych Star bursaries. We recognise that. You know, it's very competitive. So do apply again, and I would absolutely encourage you to do that if you were unsuccessful applying last year or the year before, for example. We absolutely welcome applications from all medical students, including those with any sort of disability or health condition. And as I mentioned, all UK medical school students are eligible to apply to the scheme. So it doesn't matter which medical school you're at, we would encourage you all to apply. And essentially, the scheme is aimed at medical students who've got an interest in and can demonstrate commitment to psychiatry as a potential career choice. And they're able to provide and demonstrate evidence of this. So we're really looking for sort of those medical students who are sort of thinking about psychiatry as a career choice, perhaps have even sort of almost made their mind up, or are certainly heavily weighted towards a career in psychiatry. So what are the benefits of the Psych Star scheme? Well, there are lots of benefits of the scheme, but I think probably the most important one, certainly when I talk to Psych Stars, and I can understand why it's the most important one, is the fact that there is the opportunity to be mentored for 12 months. So as part of the scheme, each Psych Star is allocated a mentor that's matched to the interests of the individual Psych Star, and also certainly in relation to the college-specific Psych Stars, geographically matched as well. So as a Psych Star, your mentor should be within your locality and, not be living sort of 50, 100, 200 miles away. So we try and match mentors geographically in terms of the college Psych Stars. And the idea behind the mentoring really is to provide you with that kind of guidance and the information that you might need about a career in psychiatry, opportunities to develop your experience of psychiatry, or to think about, what might be a useful conference to go to, how to present your work at a psychiatric conference, etc. Or even perhaps getting involved in a research project or some sort of quality improvement project or clinical audit. What we always do at the start of the year of the Psych Star scheme is we do a introduction evening at the college, and that's really a welcome event, and it's a really nice opportunity to meet with all the other Psych Stars, to meet with myself, and to meet the college officers as well. So we will often have the dean of the college, the president of the college, and even our chief executive as well might well attend. So we have an introduction evening at the college. You find out a little bit more about the scheme, and you get the opportunity to meet the other Psych Stars who you're going to be, working alongside for the next 12 months. You'll get free attendance at the flagship event of the college, which is the International Congress, and that's a 4-day event which is being held in Newport in Wales. For the first time, the International Congress is going to be held in Wales. It's a fantastic opportunity to network and to meet with other medical students interested in psychiatry, and to hear about cutting-edge research as well from international speakers. And there's also a really good social aspect to the International Congress as well. So there are lots of fringe events. There's a trainee dinner, trainee lounge, etc. So it's a really nice opportunity, I think, to meet other psychiatrists at different levels, not just fellow medical students. And that will include your travel and accommodation as well. So, that is one of the other chief benefits of the scheme. You'll get free access to the college's continuous professional development online modules, and there's about 180 of them, as well as 90 podcasts, and free access to Trainees Online as well, which is our online resource for trainees in psychiatry who are studying for their MRC Psych, and that's to help them with their MRC Psych exam. So you'll get free access to that as a Psych Star. And also free subscription to a couple of the journals as well. So includes the Yellow Journal, the British Journal of Psychiatry, and the BJ Psych Bulletin as well. And probably best of all for you guys is you get a CPD fund of £525, and that can be put towards attendance at conferences, attendance at courses, and any events of interest. You may use it towards an elective that's got a psychiatry focus, or to help you purchase some psychiatry textbooks, which can be expensive as a trainee. So we would ask all Psych Stars to consult with a mentor around the appropriate use of the CPD funds. So what are the expectations of Psych Star? Well, there is an expectation you attend the introduction event at the start of the scheme, and usually 95% 95+% of Psych Stars are able to do that. And, we do give Psych Stars plenty of advance warning as to when that will be. And it's usually on a Friday as well, so at the end of the week, so it's more convenient for travel purposes. But it's a great opportunity to meet with the other Psych Stars, so we'd absolutely encourage you to attend the introduction event. We'd like you as a Psych Star to make that first contact with your mentor within the first couple of weeks of the scheme so that you can arrange an initial meeting and really set a plan for the year. So what do you want to do over the 12 months? And I think, this is very much one of those projects where you get in, where you get out what you put in. So if you make that early contact with your mentor, that will help to establish a good relationship with your mentor, and hopefully you can set up some regular meetings, whether they're via MS Teams or Zoom, or you may even be able to arrange face-to-face meetings, and of course maintain contact regularly through email as well. So whilst we're not prescriptive about how regular that contact should be, we would encourage our Psych Stars to sort of let us know if you're not having that regular contact with your mentor, or you're struggling to maintain that contact. And one of the things that I like to do is to catch up with the Psych Stars on a regular basis over the 12 months. So we normally arrange 3 catch-up sessions over the course of the 12 months. And there is also a Psych Stars breakfast as well at the International Congress, which again is a great opportunity to catch up face-to-face. And we would expect you to attend the Congress if possible. I know sometimes things like exams, etc., get in the way, but if you are able to attend, it's great to see the Psych Stars at the International Congress. And we have the Psych Stars breakfast usually on the Tuesday of Congress. But perhaps most importantly of all, we want you guys to be an ambassador for psychiatry and to promote the scheme at a local level. So we know that the popularity of the scheme has really increased over the last 5 years, and we're seeing more and more applicants from the newer UK medical schools. And we really want you guys to sort of promote the scheme at your own medical school and further beyond, and to really be an ambassador for psychiatry as a career choice, to your peers and colleagues. So what about the application process? So you should submit the following to the careers team at the college, and the email address is there, and that should be in one PDF document. So a copy of your CV, and it should only be a 1-page CV, and that in itself can be a bit of a skill, writing a CV in 1 page, but it's really important that you stick to that. I've got to look through lots and lots of applications, so what I don't want is a 10-page CV to look through. So a 1-page CV, any previous awards, prizes or bursaries that you've received either from the RC Psych or any other Royal Colleges or any of the charities or organisations. And then we give you 3 questions that we want you to answer. And there are 500 words maximum for answering each of these 3 questions. And we're really strict on that 500-word limit as well. So again, a bit of a skill there in terms of, making it succinct. But how do you propose to spend the Psych Star CPD travel fund of £525? What do you hope to achieve in your career as a psychiatrist? And can you outline how you'll prepare for this both personally and professionally? And then finally, describe a situation with a patient which made you reflect. And that doesn't need to be a patient with mental health issues or a patient encountered on your psychiatric placement. It may be a patient within any sort of clinical scenario that you can use. And we'd strongly encourage you to have a look on the college website to review the college's values and behaviours, and really try and incorporate them into your answers for those questions. So that's something that you really need to try and do. The application process itself, there are college Psych Star bursaries, and then there are faculty-specific Psych Star bursaries. So if you want to apply for a faculty-specific Psych Star bursary, you need to submit everything listed on the previous slide. But in addition, there will also be a faculty-specific question. Okay, so that will be along the lines of, can you explain why you are wishing to apply for the forensic faculty Psych Star bursary? You can apply for both a college Psych Star and faculty-specific Psych Star position. Obviously, you can only be awarded one of the bursaries. So you would, in the event that you were successful with both, you'd be asked to choose, would you prefer a college Psych Star bursary or the faculty-specific one? And you can apply to more than one faculty Psych Star position. So you would need to list in order of preference if you're applying to more than one faculty. So you might be interested in perinatal neuropsychiatry and older adult psychiatry. You would need to list them in order of preference. so that we know which will be your preferred option. Okay, and that's all from myself. I've left my email address there, but I've also importantly left the email address of the careers team so that you can contact the careers team with any queries that you may have about the Psych Star scheme. Just to say that the application window itself is opening tomorrow at midday, and it's going to close on the 21st of April at 8 a.m. So that information will be available on the college website. We are hoping to do the interviews on the 4th of June. So just, keep those dates in mind. And certainly with the interviews, unfortunately, we have to do all the interviews on one day. So the 4th of June is the day that we're going to do the interviews. And with that, I'm going to hand over to one of our current Psych Stars, who's going to tell us a little bit about their own experience of being a Psych Star over the last 12 months. So we've got Henry with us this evening. So I'm going to hand over to Henry to talk a little bit about his own experience. Thank you, Henry.
Thank you very much, Declan. So yeah, my name's Henry, and I am a fourth year medical student at Norwich Medical School. This year I was awarded a College Psych Star Award as part of the Psych Star scheme. Slide, please. So the reasons why I applied for the scheme is to gain experience and further exposure to psychiatry, as I'm quite interested in psychiatry as a future career. I also applied because of the bragging rights. The Psych Star scheme is locally and nationally recognised with quite a high level of esteem around it, and it's a lot of a privilege to be an ambassador as part of the scheme as well. And because it's incredibly well respected, when I've been on placement in my psychiatry rotation, I've been able to talk about it with some of the doctors I've been with, and that's definitely benefited me. And the scheme really appealed to me because I saw this as a really great opportunity to develop and deepen my knowledge around psychiatry, further than what we are exposed to in our medical school curriculum. The scheme as well has so many unique opportunities, um, as mentioned earlier on about the mentorships and the funding that we can use, as well as obviously attending the International Congress in June, which I'm looking forward to. Some of the benefits of the scheme, obviously, it's just the whole experience of the scheme from meeting up with the peers on the introductory night that we had in September and the ongoing friendships we've had from that. My mentor, Caroline, her guidance throughout the whole scheme so far has been phenomenal. She's been aiding me with various audits I've been working on, as well as supporting me with gaining additional opportunities and exposure to psychiatry. I'm hopefully going to be arranging to spend some time with her in liaison psychiatry and also some older age experience as well. Um, the scheme as well, it gives you a chance to work with and liaise with other students on the scheme. Like I mentioned earlier on, I've fostered a lot of friendships from the peers on the group already. And there's one person who I am currently doing a systematic review with, and we're hopefully going to be publishing that and hopefully presenting that at some conferences as well. And these are opportunities that we may not have got if I wasn't on this scheme. As I mentioned earlier on, acting as an ambassador for the scheme is a great privilege, and it really does reflect well on your CV, especially if you're hoping to go into a career of psychiatry. And like I said, the mentoring has been phenomenal. The opportunities going to the International Congress will be really, really exciting. It's not often that you get to go to many conferences as a medical student, let alone an international one. The CPD and travel fund of £525 is also really, really helpful. There are not many ways to get free money, and I think this is a really great way to use this financial aid to support me or you with pursuing psychiatry as a career. And like I said, the e-learning is extremely exciting. They've got so many different courses that I've been sort of looking at getting myself onto, or some of the podcasts to listen to. And as Declan said earlier on, we are getting the British Journal of Psychiatry. We get the monthly subscriptions for the magazines coming through, and they're really helpful to just have a paper copy to read for at your own leisure. And they're nice to sort of collect as well. Next slide, please. So my experience so far on the scheme is been really, really fun. Like I said, I got to meet up with all of my peers in September, and made some very good friendships from that. I've also been able to go to some of the Eastern Division conferences. The one that I enjoyed was about new advances in diagnosis and treatment of mental illnesses. And it touched on some really new ideas that we haven't been exposed to in my medical school curriculum. And I think the scheme really allowed me to sort of explore the cutting edge of psychiatry, which is really exciting. As I mentioned as well, I've been able to sort of participate and assist in a systematic review. And once again, hopefully I'll be able to get a publication from this as well as presenting this as conferences. I've also been involved with various clinical audits, from mental health in primary care settings to carers' mental health in a crisis team service. And I believe that this Psych Star scheme really did fuel me to get my foot in the door for these opportunities. As I've mentioned as well, I've been liaising with my mentor, Caroline, throughout my scheme so far. And like I said, I've been arranging a shadowing experience, hopefully actually next week. The scheme has been really, really good for making friends and sharing stories and encouragement with people who are also interested in psychiatry as a career. And also, I have been spending some of my money for my elective placement, which I'll talk about in a little bit as well. So things that I'm sort of looking forward to moving forward is obviously the International Psychiatry Congress in June this year. It will be amazing once again just to be surrounded by so many people who are interested in psychiatry, a chance to sort of hear exciting speakers and learn new things, and obviously meeting up with my peers again. I also have my elective placement. This will be in psychiatry in Guernsey. I'm very interested in how we approach equitable access to mental health care, especially in rural communities, obviously coming from Norfolk myself, but also how that transfers to places like Guernsey where it's island healthcare. And because of that, I've been using my Psych Star fund this year to support me with going there for my elective placement. And as I mentioned, I'm quite keen to sort of continue with doing some of the online courses that the college offers. And that they've got some really, really interesting ones, sort of exploring perimenopause, menopause, mental health. I mean, like Declan said, I think they've got over 180 different courses, but they've got so many that are really interesting. Obviously, I'm hopefully finishing up the systematic review that I'm working on with one of the other Psych Star peers, and hopefully publishing this as well, and arranging further shadowing opportunities with my mentor. So some of my top tips for applying is during this application process, just be yourself. Discuss your passion and interest in psychiatry and how your values align with this as a future career. It's helpful to read around contemporary research in psychiatry, but also some of the challenges that psychiatry is facing as well. And think about what you want to achieve from the scheme when you're applying or when you're writing your essays, and try and sort of reflect this in your application and relate that to sort of your values and why you want to be a psychiatrist or experience the Psych Star scheme. It's really important to discuss your interest in psychiatry. And I put down at the bottom, apply again. I applied once and I didn't get in. And then I applied again for the second time and then I was awarded it. So I would definitely say if you don't get in first time, just continue to apply because it's a fantastic opportunity. And I think, yeah, it should be celebrated with how amazing this is. So yeah, please do apply. And if you've got any questions for me, then I'll be sticking around at the end to hopefully answer some. And thank you all for your time tonight.
Thank you very much, Henry, and great to have you with us this evening. And you've been a fantastic ambassador for the scheme, so thank you for joining us. And we have one of our other current Psych Stars with us this evening, Morgan. So I believe Morgan's going to also talk to us a little bit about her own experience of being in the Psych Star scheme. So, Morgan, have you got your slides, or do you need us to share them?
Hello, would
Are
you be able to
you
share
with us,
them?
Morgan?
That's okay.
Oh, yes, that's fine. Yes, I'm sure Sasha will be able to share them. There we go. All right, thanks, Morgan.
Well, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I'm Morgan, and I'm just going to discuss my experience as a Psych Star so far. Could you go on to the next slide, please? So just going to say a tiny bit about me. So I'm currently a third-year medical student at St George's. I'm on the graduate entry course, and I was awarded the College Psych Star. I'm also Wellbeing Officer for St George's Psychiatry Society, and my background is in clinical psychology and neuropsychiatry. So my undergraduate degree is in clinical psychology, and I have a master's in neuropsychiatry. And it was actually my undergraduate degree that kind of inspired me to apply for medicine, but also kind of reinforced that psychiatry is my specialty of choice. So I had the opportunity to do a year-long placement year, which was really, really great. It was in older adult mental health services. I got to work closely with psychiatrists. I really loved the high patient contact. I loved the holistic approach and taking on a biopsychosocial perspective. So that's kind of what initiated my passion for psychiatry. Could I have the next slide, please? So we've kind of discussed what the Psych Star scheme is. I just think it's an amazing scheme. It allows you to have much deeper engagement with psychiatry, and it gives you the opportunity to be a Royal College Psych ambassador. So you get to kind of spread the word about the scheme, and it's so great to talk to other people about the scheme as well. It's been so lovely to promote it via my psychiatry society. I've been speaking to people about it in person. I've been able to kind of talk to people via WhatsApp, via email, talk about the application process, talk about the scheme overall. So that's been really lovely, just talking about psychiatry in general as well. Next slide, please. And could you go back, please? Thank you. So yeah, just a bit about why I applied. So similarly to what was said before, I just really, really wanted to gain more experience and expand my knowledge in psychiatry. And that's because, as I said, psychiatry is my specialty of choice. And I think because I've only really, in my early stage in med school, I'm halfway through now, I feel like I haven't had too much exposure to psychiatry. I haven't really had a psychiatry placement. We haven't had too many psychiatry-based modules yet. Or any PBL cases really yet. So I think it was a really great way to kind of get more exposure to psychiatry. I think for me, the icing on the cake was the opportunity to be mentored by a consultant psychiatrist as well. And that's truly, truly been one of the most beneficial aspects of the scheme. I thought originally being able to be mentored by someone who's in the specialty you want to go into would be invaluable, kind of getting that advice, having that working relationship. And it truly has been amazing. Having access to the resources, being able to go to psychiatry related events and having research opportunities. And like I said before, the courses that are on offer are truly amazing. I recently did one on alcohol related brain damage, and it was so informative, and it actually helped me with one of my PBL cases. And I think just to be part of a community as well is a really good reason to apply with the fellow Psych Stars. Just being able to talk to people who, especially med students who are also passionate about psychiatry, is truly, truly lovely. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so just going to talk about my key experiences so far. So the Psych Star welcome evening, which is like an amazing introduction to the scheme, where you get to like network with the other Psych Stars, you get to meet some of the mentors, you get to talk to members of the college. It was really great to get some advice from past Psych Stars as well. You get to eat some canapes, a little bit of Prosecco if you would like. It's truly a fun evening. And then another kind of key experience for me is I collaborated and planned a talk on neuropsychiatry with my mentor for St George's Psychiatry Society. So it focused on the subspecialty of neuropsychiatry, and it contained clinical cases, and one of the cases focused on temporal lobe epilepsy and post-ictal psychosis. And then I think one of the kind of best parts of my experience for me has been the monthly meetings I have with my mentor. I'm so lucky that my mentor is also at St George's. So we're able to meet up quite regularly, go for a coffee, talk about kind of what I want to do next, what opportunities I can get involved in, like audits and research. I also get to shadow in his neuropsychiatry clinic quite regularly. I get to practice my kind of psychiatric history take and get to be involved in diagnosis and management. And he's very hands-on with his teaching as well. So that's truly been really valuable. And then kind of events I'm looking forward to upcoming is the International Congress, which I think would be great to kind of see what up-to-date research is going on, be able to network and see my fellow Psych Stars again. And then in terms of what I'm looking forward to and how I'm going to spend my fund, I'm hopefully going to be going to the Liaison Psychiatry Annual Conference as well as the Neuropsychiatry Annual Conference, because these are kind of the two subspecialties I'm really interested in. Next slide, please. Yeah, so I just feel like I just wanted to say a bit what I've learned so far and the skills I've gained. So because I've had that quite frequent exposure to psychiatry within clinical practice, I feel like I've really improved my communication skills. I feel more confident in taking a psychiatric history. And because I've been able to meet up with my mentor quite regularly and we've had quite in-depth chats about the career pathways in psychiatry, I kind of have a clearer vision of how I would like my career to look or where I want to go. And I have more of a strengthened understanding of neuropsychiatric conditions. I've been able to see patients with things like functional neurological disorder, epilepsy. I saw a patient with a vagus nerve stimulator, as well as patients with schizophrenia. It's been so informative and it's been so lovely to chat with the patients as well. And I just feel more confident in engaging with patients, engaging with professionals and talking to psychiatrists about psychiatry, as well as my peers. Next slide, please. Thank you. And really, I do feel like the scheme has shaped my future. I feel kind of even more passionate about psychiatry, particularly neuropsychiatry. It makes me feel more confident and it has encouraged me to seek further opportunities. And as I said before, I just have a kind of a clearer vision of where I want my career to go in psychiatry. And next slide, please. And yeah, I just wanted to say, please apply to the scheme. It's so worthwhile. It's amazing. And I feel like personally, my experience so far has been invaluable for me as a person, but also professionally. And just my advice is to be really, really reflective. Think about what experiences you do have and kind of relate them to psychiatry. Think about how they've impacted you, but also how they've impacted patients as well. I think be passionate about psychiatry and show that in your application. Try to get involved in opportunities if you can, like be a part of your psychiatry society, go to psychiatry society events, talk to any psychiatry related like lecturers or speakers, because personally, I feel like for me, I've got really good shadowing opportunities out of that as well. And I think just stay curious about psychiatry as well. Next slide, please. And I just want to say thank you so much. And most importantly, good luck. I hope everyone does well in their applications. And please contact me if you have any questions. I've put my email there, but then I'm also staying until the end for questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Morgan. I would hasten to add, for those that don't drink alcohol, there are non-alcoholic drinks available at the welcome event as well. And one of the things that we did do actually this year was we did arrange for a dinner after the event, like an informal dinner event. And I think 8 or 9 of the Psych Stars were able to come to that, and that was great fun as well. So really keen to kind of implement that as well for future years. So thanks very much, Morgan. So our final speaker is one of our previous Psych Stars, actually. So she was previously a Psych Star, is no longer a Psych Star, and she was the Faculty of Social and Rehabilitation Psychiatry, faculty-specific Psych Star. So Lauren is with us this evening, and I think Lauren is going to talk to you guys about her own experience as an ex-Psych Star. So Lauren, over to you. Thank you.
Hi. Just give me 1 second to share my screen. This might take me a while. I'm not very good with this. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you. Okay, and you just need to put it in slideshow mode.
Yeah. Excuse all my tabs. Sorry. Okay. Great. Hi everyone, my name's Lauren, and as Declan said, I was the Psych Star for the Faculty of Rehabilitation and Social Psychiatry last year. So like Henry and Morgan, I'm just going to be talking today about my experience with the program and why I think you all should definitely apply. So a bit about why I applied. I think the real reason probably is bragging rights, but I didn't write that. Um, but yeah, I was always really interested in kind of mental health and potentially exploring psychiatry as a career, but I hadn't had any psychiatry placement, so I didn't really know much about like the realities of the career, and so I really like the idea of being mentored by a consultant and learning a bit more about kind of the day-to-day experience working in psychiatry. And then also, I didn't really know many other students who were really interested in psychiatry at my university. So I was very keen to meet other students who wanted to explore psychiatry a bit more. Um, and then obviously the money is really nice as well. I think kind of as students, um, often it can be really expensive and unaffordable to go to conferences and do all of this stuff. So yeah, I was very um yeah, very drawn in as well by the funding aspect of it. Um, so I'm gonna just kind of run through some of the highlights of the scheme for me personally. Um, so I think the others have already spoken a bit about the introductory welcome evening, and this was such a fun evening. I got to meet my whole cohort, and it's really kind of funny, like looking at this picture now, because now like I know these people really quite well, and it's really interesting to see how all the cool stuff that everyone's done over the year. But we had like such a fun time. We did go out for dinner after, and it was really nice because we got to kind of share and discuss what we wanted to do with the scheme, and people already like started planning projects together and um, yeah, started talking about how they wanted to spend their funding and stuff like that. So it was really a really good evening. Um, and then my mentor, so I was assigned two mentors who were rehabilitation and social psychiatrists, and we met monthly over Zoom. And it was really, I would definitely recommend if you join the program to meet regularly with your mentors, because I think it was definitely the highlight of the program for me. Um, I feel like it was great. I definitely like overshared and like quizzed these mentors way too much, but it was really nice to have that dedicated time and space to just chat with a consultant psychiatrist and really get to know them and the kind of pros and cons of the career. And it was really nice because a few months into the scheme, I got to go to the faculty conference in Leeds where I actually got to meet my mentors in person. And one of them let me run a workshop alongside her, which was really scary, but was really fun. And I got to know basically I got to meet pretty much the whole department um, of, yeah, for the rehabilitation social psychiatry division. And yeah, got to see what was kind of going on within the faculty and what everyone was discussing and where they saw the faculty going in the future, which was really nice because I didn't really know much about social and rehabilitation psychiatry before joining the scheme. It was kind of rogue that I applied for it, to be honest. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. It felt like I was really like in the right place, and I just found everything so interesting. And yeah, it was snowing in Leeds, which was also quite cool. Um, so at the time when I was a psych star, I was also the president of my university psychiatry society. And because of all of the people that I'd met through the scheme, I was able to put together UCL's first ever Student Psychiatry Society conference. And that was really nice. We had a lot of support from the Royal College, and we had two Psych Stars from my cohort. So they were good friends of mine who were able to speak at the conference and talk about their experiences as well, which was really nice. And that definitely wouldn't have happened if I hadn't met a bunch of people through the Psych Star scheme. And then probably one of the main highlights for me was going to Budapest. This was absolutely incredible. A bunch of us decided to basically go on holiday for as a way to use our funding. So we got to go to the European Congress of Psychiatry in Budapest, which was wild. It's like this massive international conference with so much really good free coffee. And we got to meet the president of the Royal College and also loads of other psychiatrists from across the world, which was, yeah, very, very cool. It was really interesting to see how different psychiatry is around Europe and all of the kind of conflicts in opinion, and all the drama and debating, which was very, very interesting. And we had such a fun time. We all became such close friends. It's really nice. I think half the group have now become doctors this week, so we're all still very much in touch. And yeah, that was great. Oh, sorry, gone too far. And then the International Congress. So yeah, Morgan and Henry kind of mentioned that they're excited for this, and they definitely should be. This was so fun. Last year it was in Edinburgh, and again, like, got to meet so many people. I was able to present a project. This is an awful photo, but present a project that I'd worked on throughout the year with my mentors, which was crazy because it's like an international conference. And we had a really nice time in Edinburgh. It's a lovely city. And again, more free coffee. But yeah, it was really nice to reconvene with all the Psych Stars and kind of see what everyone had been doing over the years. And also kind of re-meet with Declan and other staff members just to kind of check in and discuss how the scheme's been. And then there's all the journals and the CPD online, which was really helpful for me actually, because like I said, I hadn't done any psychiatry placement, and so I didn't know that much about it. So these were really good ways for me to kind of further explore my areas of interest. And I've just done my psychiatry placement now, and it's been quite helpful because actually I'd already read about a lot of things kind of through these journals and the CBD platform. So I definitely recommend checking those out. And yeah, so I guess the moral of this whole presentation is to definitely apply. I think it's such a good opportunity. And I was really reluctant to apply. I literally would look at the Psych Star website like year after year and just like think that there was no point me applying. But I just think if you are genuinely interested in psychiatry and you just kind of reflect a bit on your own experiences, even if you're like very early in your kind of medical school journey, like I definitely think it's worth applying because you will have lots of relevant things to talk about if you think a bit about your personal experiences. And yeah, just try to be honest and not overthink it and really communicate your enthusiasm. And yeah, I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you very much. And I'm also happy to answer any questions.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Lauren, and thank you for giving up some of your time this evening. So do keep your questions coming in. So we've now got about 16 minutes to go through some questions in the Q&A box. So I'm going to go straight ahead, and I may delegate some of the questions to our current and previous Psych Stars present. So first question is having done some research in psychiatry a deal breaker? I can answer that one very easily, and the answer to that is very simply no. It's not essential at all that you've done any sort of research in psychiatry or that you've got a PhD or a master's or an MPhil or anything like that. So you know, what we're not looking for here is you know, those who are just purely interested in academic psychiatry. Yes, that may be a specific area that you're interested in, so you may have an interest in academic psychiatry, but you don't have to have churned out 10 papers in the British Journal of Psychiatry in order to apply. So please do not feel that you need to have some sort of research background in order to apply to the scheme. Okay, so will I be able to sign up for this if I'm going to be on a deferred year? So one of the things I should have mentioned that I think I forgot to mention was that you're absolutely able to apply to the scheme if you're intercalating, so long as you're still a registered student with the medical school. So some of our Psych Stars, in fact, quite a few of them are intercalating. So, you know, they're doing a BSc or a BA or something like that, but they're obviously still registered with their host medical school. So it's quite okay if you're intercalating. Now, if you're deferring for other reasons, then we'd have to explore that a little bit more closely. So I'd need to know what is there a specific reason why you're deferring from your academic studies. So if in doubt, it's best just to email the careers team at the college, and we can kind of look into that. But certainly, if you're intercalating, not an issue at all. A couple of people have asked this question about whether it's appropriate to apply the scheme if you're a final year student. Yes, it's absolutely fine to do that. So previously, this scheme wasn't open to final year medical students, but we decided actually to open it up so that final year students were eligible to apply, recognizing, of course, that for the latter part of the scheme, the last month of the scheme, you would have already started your foundation training. So if you are a final year medical student, you're absolutely eligible to apply, and I would encourage you to apply. The only thing I will say is that obviously there are stresses associated with being a final year student, not least the MLA. So I guess it's something to bear in mind. But that shouldn't put you off. So don't let that put you off applying. If you are a final year student, we would encourage you to still apply. Would the only thing that would change when applying for different faculty positions be your answer to the question, or do you send the exact same application? So the only answer that would be different if applying for different faculty specific Psych Star bursaries would be your answer to the faculty specific question. Yeah, so obviously you need to tailor your answer to the specific faculty that you're wishing to apply to in terms of the faculty specific bursary. All the other answers can remain the same. So the faculty, with regards to the faculty specific applications, the faculties themselves will make a decision about which application they wish to appoint to the bursary. Are the interviews face-to-face or online? So we did previously do the interviews face-to-face at the college in London, but I think it's logistically very difficult. And for some students, obviously, it means travelling potentially from northern Scotland to London, which could be 8 hours of travelling. So for various reasons, we do the interviews online now, so we do them virtually, and I think that's easier all round. It's easier for the applicants, it's easier for the interviewers, and of course, it's very much in keeping with the college's stance around maintaining a carbon neutral footprint as well. So we wouldn't want students traveling 8 hours for a half an hour interview in London. So we're going to do all the interviews virtually. For the CV, is it purely just awards, etc., directly linked to academics, or do we put any other achievements, things we've been involved with, e.g. research published? Yeah, absolutely. Anything that you think is relevant to your application, I would include in your CV, and that would certainly include any sort of publications related to research, or if you presented any posters, for example, of a clinical audit you've been involved in, or a quality improvement project, anything like that. Any sort of prizes, whether they're academic or non-academic. One of the great things when I read these applications is learning about people's non-academic interests and accolades and achievements. So, do include it regardless of, whether it's academic or non-academic. We've got another question here about, can you be in your preclinical years when applying? Yes, you certainly can. So this is something else that I absolutely want to emphasize, that we welcome applications from all years at medical schools. So whether you're preclinical or clinical, and a lot of our Psych Stars haven't actually done the psychiatry placement yet. I'm aware that in a lot of medical schools, including my own, you don't do psychiatry until you're a year 4 medical student. So don't let being a preclinical student put you off applying. In fact, I think in many ways you're in a good position if you apply as a preclinical student, because it gives you a bit more understanding of psychiatry as a field of medicine before you come to your actual psychiatry placement. So absolutely can apply as a preclinical year student. I think a couple of people have asked about the application to places ratio for the Psych Star scheme. So I saw this question. I was racking my brains trying to remember how many applications we had exactly last year, and I'm sure that Katrina would be able to tell me, but I think it was around about 104 or something like that. So the applicant per bursary ratio is probably 4 or 5 to 1. It depends. So we haven't yet had confirmation as to how many Psych Stars we're going to have, or we're going to be able to offer for the next cohort. So we're waiting for a final number in terms of the number of college-specific Psych Stars. We know already that about 10 of the RC Psych's faculties are agreeing to fund a Psych Star. So there should be at least 10 faculty-specific Psych Stars. So we're still waiting to hear from some of the faculties like forensic psychiatry and psychotherapy, and the social and rehab psychiatry faculty as well. So yeah, probably about 4 or 5 to 1. But I think it's fair to say that the number of applications has increased year on year since we came out of COVID. You know, we saw a bit of a lull during the COVID pandemic, understandably. So I think the number of applications is going to continue to rise. What are the benefits of college versus faculty Psych Star positions? I'm a bit confused. I'm going to defer this question to Henry, Morgan, and Lauren, if that's okay, because they're probably better placed to answer that question. So, guys, what do you think in terms of applying for faculty-specific Psych Star bursary versus a college Psych Star bursary? Do you guys want to offer some thoughts?
So I applied for both the college and several faculty Psych Stars. I think in my application I applied for the general adult, liaison psychiatry, and then just the college Psych Star award. So I think apply for as many as you want, because it helps just sort of with your opportunities to potentially get in, your chances to get in. And I think it is quite helpful when you're writing the essays to each individual faculty. It does help you think about different areas of psychiatry you'd like to gain exposure to, or where you could potentially see a future career in. So I'd say, yeah, definitely do both.
Yeah, Morgan,
Yeah,
Lauren, any thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Henry. I think if you're interested in a specific subspecialty of psychiatry, definitely apply for that faculty, but also apply for the college as well. I applied for college because I liked that it was quite nice and broad, and I feel like I was quite privileged in a way, because I'm really interested in neuropsychiatry, and my mentor ended up being a consultant neuropsychiatrist. So I think even if you are interested in a specific faculty, and if you do or don't get it, but you might actually end up getting a mentor who's also in the specialty you really, really like. So I think, yeah, they're both great opportunities.
Okay. And Lauren, obviously you applied for a faculty-specific Psych Star bursary, and you kind of said earlier you didn't really know much about rehab and social psychiatry.
Yeah, so I was reading about all of the different specialties on the website, and then because I think most of the other ones I had some rough idea of what it would be, and then I saw social and rehabilitation, and I'm a big fan of, like, I don't know, social stuff generally. So I was like, oh, what's this? And I read a bit about it on the website, and I was like, oh, this sounds really up my alley. But yeah, I had no exposure to it before, so for me it was just a really good chance to learn a bit more about it. But I think I also applied for the college one as well, so you can definitely apply for both. But I would also say, like, even though I was attached to rehabilitation and social psychiatry, like, I still got the chance to meet psychiatrists from all different faculties, and because there were so many good, like, networking opportunities and stuff, if I did find myself interested more in another faculty, there was no reason why you can't still reach out to people and kind of connect with them anyway. So it's not, it's not the end of the world really, either way.
Yeah, and I would just add that certainly for the college Psych Star bursaries, one of the things that I do is I reach out to each of the college Psych Stars, the successful applicants, and I ask them what are their specific areas of interest, and I will deliberately, search out a mentor who's matched to the interests of the college Psych Star as well. So that's often a bit of a painstaking process, but I think worth doing nonetheless. Right, we've got 5 more minutes, and the questions keep coming in, so I'm going to continue to fire through some. So if the conferences you go to are very far away, can you use the fund for hotels / somewhere to stay? Yes, absolutely. Obviously, you just need to discuss the use of your CPD funds with your mentor, and if you're not sure, contact the careers team at the college. but that's not a problem to to use some of your CPD fund for the hotel that you're staying in as well. But that's okay. Sarah asks, will we be disadvantaged if we've not had previous awards from other places and having little experience? No, absolutely not. So again, I don't want people to be discouraged thinking that they need to have had 3 or 4 awards, done something groundbreaking, fantastic in order to apply and have any chance of being successful. So it's really about being able to be thoughtful and reflective in your answers to the questions, consideration of the college values, etc., and just sort of being able to apply that to your answers to the questions to strengthen them. So it certainly is not a disadvantage if you haven't had sort of much prior experience of working in psychiatry or being on placement or doing volunteering, etc., or work experience in a mental health setting, etc. So another question about deferring in September, will I still be able to apply during this year? Yes, if you're deferring because you're intercalating, etc., that's absolutely fine. If you're deferring for a reason other than intercalation, what I would suggest is get in touch with the careers team at the college, and we will look into your eligibility. If you apply and don't get a place, do you get feedback based on the application? I get asked this every year. The difficulty that we have is that with the number of applications that we have, for me to give feedback to every single unsuccessful applicant would take many hours. So we don't offer individualized feedback to unsuccessful applicants. What we do though is we do try and link you in with your local PTC reps. I think they've changed their name now, haven't they? The Resident Doctor Trainees Committee reps, and also your English division or the Devolved Nation if you're from Northern Ireland, Scotland or Wales. So we do try and link you in to offer some sort of additional support if you're unsuccessful in applying, but we can't unfortunately provide individualized feedback. A question from Georgina: do you think the scheme is suitable for final year medical students? Yes, I do. Have there been many final year Psych Stars, and how they manage the pressures of final year making the most of the scheme? I don't think any of our Psych Stars on the webinar today are final year medical students, unless I'm wrong. I think we've had a few and they seem to manage. I think there are obvious pressures, and there's going to be pinch points when you're more busy because of academic studies, etc. But absolutely do not let that put you off if you're going into your final year. Where can we find more information about each school of psychiatry? So what I would suggest is that you put it into Google. So I'm in the Northwest School of Psychiatry. So if you put in Northwest School of Psychiatry in Google, that will take you to the Northwest School's website. So I would suggest you use Google to find out more information about individual schools of psychiatry. What does the interview involve? It involves asking a few questions and finding out a little bit more about you as an applicant. I can't give you the questions at this point in time, but it's really about why you've applied to the scheme, etc., and sort of asking you about to reflect on a clinical scenario. And I don't want to give the questions away on the webinar, but it involves several questions and takes about 20 minutes. And there's usually 2 interviewers. So how many interviews are offered and how many people tend to apply per year? I'll answer the second question first. So the number of people applying per year is increasing. So it was around about 100 last year. And that was an increase of about 50% from the year before. So I would expect it would certainly be 100 plus this year. How many interviews are offered? We normally try and interview around about sort of 30 odd applicants. Just depends on the availability of interviewers, etc., and how many we can schedule in. So there's a shortlisting process. So myself and Charlotte Wilson-Jones, who's the college's Associate Dean for Undergraduate Psychiatry, we shortlist all the applications, and then we make a decision about how many we're going to interview. In terms of how many spaces there are, well, as I said before, we've not got final confirmed numbers. We've got roughly 10 faculty-specific Psych Star bursaries confirmed. We haven't got a final number of college-specific Psych Stars, so that information will be available very soon, and that will certainly appear on the college websites. Is it appropriate to sign up for the scheme if I'll be in my second year next year? Yes, absolutely. You can be in any year of your medical school. That's not a problem at all. Shall we put our grades on a CV or previous degrees if relevant? You can certainly put in your any previous degrees. I'm not too worried about your GCSE grades and your A-level grades. I'll leave that to your discretion. But certainly any previous degrees is useful. How heavily weighted are prizes, research, particularly for early year students without many opportunities to earn these? They're not heavily weighted as such, and I think it's really about your answers to the questions. That's what's going to help you in terms of achieving a higher score when it comes to shortlisting. How much time would you feel we need to dedicate to the scheme? That really depends on how much time you want to dedicate. You can dedicate as much or as little as you want. As I said at the start, you get out what you put in, really. And I'm conscious of the time and the fact that it's 7:31, so I'm going to make this the final question. Are there limits on how many people from each medical school can get on, so can be successful? No, there aren't. And certainly we encourage applications from the newer UK medical schools, but we don't put a limit on the number of Psych Stars that are appointed from each UK medical school. I'm very conscious I've not been able to get through all the questions. I think there was a bit of a late flurry of questions there. I got through as many as I could, but unfortunately we have run out of time now. So I just want to say a huge thank you to Morgan, Henry and Lauren for giving up the time this evening to talk about their own personal experiences in terms of being involved with the Psych Star scheme. And I'm sure they'll all be happy for you to contact them for any further advice or information, etc. I also want to say a huge thank you to Claire and to Katrina of the careers team at the college for organising the webinar this evening. And I wish you all the very best of luck with applying for the scheme. And thank you for joining us this evening. I wish you all a good evening. Thank you.